Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Film and Whiskey podcast. I'm Bob Book.
I'm Brad G.
And we're coming at you with another special bonus episode. Brad, today on the program, we have one of my favorite people in the whole world of whiskey. And
dude,
I'm just going to come out and say it like this. We're going to get real today. So I'm just going to come out and say it like this. We've interviewed a lot of people on this show, and some of them have very minimal personality.
Low charisma.
That's a good way to say it. It's really great when somebody makes your job easy. And Jackie Zykan is one of those people. And we've got Jackie hanging out on the other end of the line here. Just say hello to the people, Jackie.
Hello. I'm the one laughing in the background at all of your build up there.
We've got Jackie Zykan back for the third time on the podcast, now representing Hidden Barn Whiskey. Jackie, I'm still getting used to saying it, but it is good to have you back in any capacity. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. You guys have such a unique platform, and it's just fun, right? It's not like, oh, I'm getting notes of almond. Like, no, like that's not part of it. It's really refreshing when for years and years and years and years and years, you say the same over and over and over again. And then you guys are like, so let's talk about, I don't know. It's great. And we have a good vibe.
Yeah, there's a soft hint of pretentiousness on this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and just kind of get the elephant out of the room here. You are representing a new company, and you've left Old Forester. You've left your post at Old Forester, where you had been for a number of years. So catch us up a little bit. How's life going representing a new brand now?
So it's completely different because I'm not necessarily just representing Hidden Barn. I am an owner of Hidden Barn. It's funny, like just in this moment, it's making me, because I'm like thinking through like, oh, I just said I'll probably get fired for saying or yelled at. And now it's just dawned upon me that like, I'm not getting fired because I would fire myself. And that's really strange. So, it's different. Like it's totally with the freedom comes a lot of risk, you know, like there's the security and the cushiness isn't there anymore. But it's great. I have no complaints.
Well, I was going to say so this whole new venture with Hidden Barn, like, you could have done a million different things with your life, right? Like you are immensely talented, and yet here you are. Now, I guess I'm curious, did you join like an ownership group? Were you there at the very start, like around the table drinking whiskey saying like, hey, we should start our own company? Like where were you at with that?
I was looking for an alternative source of income in my life. I was looking for a different job for a while. That's just what it was.
Sure.
I had things that like just didn't align with me anymore. And it was to the point, like, I'm a person that really identifies as a hard worker. I love to put in the hours. I love to be busy, and I love to do things that appeal to me. I don't like to do things that don't appeal to me. Like, I don't know what person's like, oh yeah, I hate that, but it's fine. Like, no, if I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. That sounds really selfish or kind of stubborn, I guess, but I don't mean it in that way. I just think like I like to work, and it's easier for me to do that with something I really appreciate and enjoy. And it's not to say that I didn't enjoy my experience at Brown-Forman. I very much did. But from day one, I knew, I mean, it's just the most obvious thing that I'm not a person that thrives in that type of environment.
Yeah.
I've never ever. I literally have worked since before I legally could work. I have never been unemployed. It's like an insatiable thing. It's probably some like weird, like inner child trauma. I don't know what the hell, but I work. And so any situation where I've worked in my life, all the way from like 14 years old, all the way up now until I'm 37.
Yeah.
If it was small or independent or had more like freedom in it, it was fine. It was just like, I just committed to it. And I tried to replicate that in this role at BF, and the free reign wasn't there. Right. And so like, it makes the effort feel that much more cumbersome. I've worked in other like corporate, I guess I just use quotes that you can't see, corporate groups or for corporate companies that have like this giant like rule book, and like there's just there's a lot of pressure and stress and like white noise that comes around from stuff like that. And I don't view myself as being purposely contrarian by any means or rebellious. I just view myself as being stubborn and someone that likes to learn things kind of the hard way. And I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of room for that when everything is so risk averse.
Yeah.
And so I needed to go, just like throw my life down the garbage disposal and see what comes out the other end.
That's a fantastic metaphor.
Oh, whatever. Like, let's see. I don't know. Maybe this is all better as like a salsa of some sort. Just grind it up and Let's see what happens.
All right. So I gotta push you a little bit on that though, because you're talking about how you've never been unemployed. And like, as much as you're comfortable with, give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, because, people who are in roles as prominent as you are, when I'm opening my email and getting the press release that you're leaving Brown-Forman and you're immediately pivoting to this new thing, like, I have to imagine that this was in the works for a little bit and that you were really working hard behind the scenes to get this up and running. So like, how? No, not at all.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I went off on this like weird tangent about childhood trauma and like weird, like insatiable things.
Tell us about your parents, Jackie.
Dodged your first question, which was like, how did this come to be? When did this start? I wasn't there at the table when this idea came to be. I was the fourth partner ad. There was just the three of them. They had the entire plan worked out. They had all the liquid, like reserve. They had all their forecasting done. Like, they had sourced a marketing agency to weigh in for label design and website and all that other stuff. Like,
wow.
I just came in and blended whiskey and was like, here's my name. Give me a check. I don't know. Like, and so here I am. I downplay it, but I've known them for a long time. I've known Nate the longest, Matt second to that, and Royce. I didn't even meet Royce until the day that the three of them said, we would like to offer you a part of this partnership. That was the first day I ever met Royce.
Can you give us like it
didn't matter. It felt right.
Can you give us like a proper introduction to your partners? Like for those people in our audience who aren't familiar with the other figures here.
Totally. So we've got two in Kentucky and two in Colorado. So in Kentucky, you've got me and Royce Neely. Royce Neely is obviously producing all of the liquid and product that's coming through on this first series out of the Neely family distillery in Sparta, Kentucky. And then the two in Colorado are Matt Dankner and Nate Weiniger. They're part of the 5280 Whiskey Society. So there's whiskey societies all over the place now. Like you throw a dart blindfolded, you're going to hit one somewhere on the map of the US. Like they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. Nate started it with this intention in mind of doing things a little bit differently. It was about community. It was about fellowship. It wasn't about egos. It wasn't about making money. It wasn't about flipping bottles. There's actually like a very, very, very precise code of conduct for the 5280 Whiskey Society, which is very much like responsibility focused and just nothing but feel good vibes on the 5280 side. And I've done so many events with them from Old Forester, and that's kind of how we first connected. And then Nate and I and his wife, Claudia, were out going skiing out in Colorado this fall. It's when I knew about the project. So like, yeah, last fall, I say this fall, like not this upcoming one, but it was like right around Thanksgiving or something. And he was like, yeah, I think we're going to start our own brand. And this is what we're thinking. And I immediately was just like, have you considered this? Like as a friend, like leaning into just like, well, you might want to look out for this. And have you just started on this? And like, this is what in my experience, this is what I came across and blah, blah, blah. Like no part of me was like, well, if you want some help, I'll charge you a consulting fee. It was just a friend conversation. We were stuck in a snowstorm driving back down Highway 70 out there. So it was just conversation. And so it wasn't until closer and closer and closer to when I had decided I was going to put in my notice. The reason I did it when I did was because those were that day of the year is when all bonuses come out at BF. Mm-hmm. And so I was waiting until the check hit the bank and then I was going to give my notice. So, I mean, you would too, like, don't, right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
Yeah. Everyone's like, you'll get it. Don't worry. It'll be fine. I'm like, nope, I don't believe any of it. I don't know what's going to happen. I am terrified. I am preparing for worst case scenario and I need that check to hit the bank. So, yeah.
Well, and the beautiful thing about what I'm hearing is it feels like it's getting back to kind of the roots of whiskey. that like whiskey was made by a bunch of people who needed something to drink because their lives were kind of rough. And they did it as a community. And here you are, you know, a few years after they started doing that. And it's like, yeah, we're just going to talk about making really great whiskey together as a community. We're going to try to fight this ridiculous secondary market that has just ruined whiskey for a lot of people, unfortunately. And yeah, Jackie, I'm like 100% in. I think this is just the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's been really great. And you know what? So we launched in Kentucky and Colorado with like actual brick and mortar distributors. And then we're using sealbox.com for access to other states for direct shipments. They put the announcement out on Sealbox yesterday, and in 4 minutes, it was all sold out. Now, I bring that up for an important reason. This isn't some sort of like, whoa, look how high in demand it is. Like, let's be clear here. We didn't sell out of 100,000 cases. We sold out of like 26 packs. So like, let's just keep it all in perspective here. But the fact that people want it, now we can start to sell more. And people have been posting, if they actually do find a bottle, I do keep tabs on the social internet media stuff, you know, and people are posting bottles. And you know what the best part about it is? Every single person that has posted something so far has been like it's a picture with a glass, or they're talking about how they tried it. I've had people texting me of like, oh, I just got to this bar and they have it. So I bought some for my friend and myself, and oh my God, now we need to buy some for the bartender because like, it's so good. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. I have not seen a single person flip any of our bottles. And I know like from like the big box brands, I guess, like we used to sit around and like be like, oh my God, that flipped for $1,200. Oh, that's crazy. Like, look, people love us. No, that's not an indication that anyone likes your product. The indication is that they don't give a shit how much they can get for it. They're going to drink it.
Right.
They want it, you know, and they enjoy it. And then they want to share it. Like that's success. Success is not a flip tag price at all. And so I hope no one flips it. I hope they don't. I hope they all drink it. It's not meant to be like an ornament on your mantle. It's meant to be consumed.
All right, let's go in on the brand a little bit. Like I want to talk about Hidden Barn because first of all, you know, we read a lot of press releases, and like I would say 75% of a press release is like marketing, PR bullshit. But like, I read this press release and I'm like, if true, comma, the origin of this brand's name is like the coolest story I've ever heard. So can you fill our listeners in a little bit on the naming of the brand? And also like, am I falling for it, or is it like an actual thing?
Okay. So we went through a lot of different, I was anonymous at this point, right? Of like not really fully being involved, but the final name had not been decided upon just yet. And so like I saw what the other options were. Here's a little news flash for anybody out there looking to create a whiskey brand or a booze brand of any sort. Like just make up words, because everything has already been trademarked. You're not going to get anything out of it. Like, trust me, like it's just how it is going to go. Like you're going to try every different format of every different thing. It's taken. Just already know it's taken. So it's a nightmare process. I can't even remember like the laundry list of names that were combed through to go over this, and every single one of them, just there was always an issue. Hidden Barn really calls back to this time in Kentucky when, of course, Kentucky is, people are making whiskey, whether it was legal or not. And anytime you have alcohol production or storage for maturation, you got ethanol in the air. Now, there's naturally occurring microflora. It's this nice little sac fungus. It like shows up as little black specks on the sides of buildings, on trees, on all kinds of things. You'll see it at any distillery. It's there. And so, of course, like if someone's making booze or storing a bunch of booze, you're going to know where, because there's a bunch of black crap on the walls. So what do? So you paint the walls black so that you can't tell that there's black spots on it. But then everyone's like, oh, well, that building's been painted black. They must be making booze. But then everybody would do it in these little clusters. And you can see that this is true. You can see them in Kentucky in little clusters. A lot of them still stand today of black barns. And so having a cluster of black barns means that you don't necessarily know which one shenanigans are going down in, but it's in one of them. But that's not the sole purpose of the black barn. The black barn also functions as a great storage and drying house for tobacco and things like that. It's pulling in all that heat in the Kentucky summer. So It's an interesting little thing, but now that it's out there, like you'll notice, I notice them more now, obviously, all over the place, but it's a true thing. It's not just like hoopla. So it's just kind of like funny that, you know, I'm not saying anyone was doing anything illegal to get this brand going, but you know, this was a group of people that were supporting each other and supporting this little adventure in whiskey making without anyone knowing about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, not surprisingly, you know, given our podcast title, I'm always reading stories and being like, oh, that's a fantastic movie right there. Like, that should be a movie. And I hear this story about communities coming together to just trick the old-timey police, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a movie right here. Like,
it's an instant classic.
Oh yeah. Like you put Paul Newman and Robert Redford in that bad boy, and you've got
oh my God,
an all-time classic.
You went a totally different direction because like when I picture how this would like really play out on a screen, it's like a Three Stooges episode. Like it's definitely not like sexy by any means. It's all like weird, like fast forwarded and like scrambly and black and white. So
that's
I
hilarious.
don't know.
You know what? Let's pivot into talking about movies for a little bit. Let's get you out of the you know, brand ambassador hat here and put you into the movie theater seat. What have you been watching lately? Have you gone to the movies lately?
I haven't gone to the actual movies lately, but I did spend a significant amount of time flying to Australia recently, which provided me ample opportunity to watch movies.
Just like maybe one movie.
You know, or like 7,
right?
Like, you know, like, well, like I flew Louisville to Atlanta, or my husband and I went Louisville to Atlanta to Minneapolis to LA to Sydney to Cairns. So, like, yeah, we had a lot of movie time. And this was the perfect opportunity for me to finally admit to him, I have not ever seen any of the Godfather movies.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I know. But I feel like we've talked about this before. Like there are these, like everybody's seen that movies. I am not that person who's ever seen the everybody's seen that movies. So many of them. I'm like, nope, just don't even know. Like what
Jackie,
I don't know.
One of my really close friends the other day, we were talking about movies and I found out that she'd never seen Jurassic Park. And I was
Is that what the Jurassic Park post was about?
It may have been.
I saw you post about it.
Just a little bit.
Listen, we're not in a position to judge anyone, though. Like, the whole premise of the podcast is Brad has not seen all these movies. Let's watch the movies together. So, like, this is a safe space.
Oh, no. I don't care. I'll admit to it. I think it's ridiculous. It's very strange. Okay, not strange, not ridiculous. I'm going to stop judging myself here. But it is something that is surprising because most people I have ever met in my life, actually everyone I've ever met has seen all of them, or at least one, or gets it. I get the references, right? Like Family Guy will have like a reference like in the middle of an episode. And I'm like, oh, it's a Godfather reference. Have I ever seen the whole movie? Do I know what it's even about? Like, who is that guy? Like, I don't know. I know now. I now know all 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom in a row. And in true form to him, I will give him credit for it. Chris is so great about like always kind of like he just, I trust his judgment. And he's like, the first one, good. Second one, phenomenal. Third one, absolute garbage. And I have to agree.
I was going to say, coming off of the 3, the third one's obviously your favorite, though. It's clearly top-notch material.
3 is terrible. But then that brings up another important point. And I don't know, have you guys ever had this conversation? Forgive me if you have. In movies where there are 3, how often is it that the first one is the best, the second one is the best, or the third one I feel like always falls off a cliff?
This is a great question. And we've had a couple trilogies on the show. And I'm always partial to the second chapter in a trilogy. Because like you got to carry on the legacy from the first one, but you don't have to spend so much time setting stuff up. And as long as you nail like the cliffhanger ending, then you're golden. Like Empire Strikes Back, perfect example. Brad and I are both big Lord of the Rings fans. The second Lord of the Rings is my favorite one of the 3. So I don't think the third one is ever the best one, but the second one for me almost always is.
I would say one of the only exceptions to that I would say is the Matrix trilogy, where like the first one is far and away the best of the 3.
That's true.
No, and
although now that's not a trilogy anymore. They made a 4th one.
Yeah, but does it count?
Right.
I'd still consider it a trilogy with like a hanger, just a little clinger hanging on there at the end.
That's how I feel about the Toy Story movies. Like, you had a perfect trilogy, and then you come out with a fourth one that
got greedy.
That completely undermines the rest of it. Like,
totally greedy.
I just don't acknowledge it.
No, but you know what else? Where the first one is absolutely like is standalone, right? Like, if none of the other ones were made, it would be start to finish. Like, the story's there, done, clinch it up, done. Home Alone. Bear with me. I know it's Home Alone, the first one.
Yep.
Amazing. Second one, okay, I guess. Third one, who's that kid? Like, who cares? Like, go away. Sorry if I offend him. Like,
it's bad when you're like actively rooting against the kid by like the third one.
I hope those robbers
no,
get you.
It's not personal. No, I know. Right? It's nothing personal. But like, one of the most fascinating things I find about Home Alone is that in the first one, it is, and I know this is like going weird, but like, whatever. It's not only a holiday movie. I'm not reserving this into like Christmas movies. Yes, it is about Christmas, but I could watch Home Alone any time of the year. Every single scene in the movie incorporates nothing but red and green. Go back and watch it. Pay close attention. Whoever designed all of that layout, like the whole movie, the wallpaper, the artwork on the walls, the carpet, the kitchen appliances, everything, red and green, everything, all the time, no matter what. Go back. You cannot unsee it.
See, this is why we bring you on. I love it. I've never even thought about that.
Weirdo.
No, look.
It's so funny. As you were saying that, I was like, just mentally going through the movie. I'm like, yep, they're like, yep, red and green. Yep, that's red and green. Like, almost every room in the house is like red wallpaper.
No, seriously, go back and watch it, and you're going to be like, oh my God, like the wardrobe, the cars, everything, the pizza box, like everything.
The craziest thing to me in that movie was the fact that Joe Pesci did that and Goodfellas in the same year.
Are you serious?
Yeah. What a year.
Like, God, what a year for that guy.
Yeah.
This is his best year. This is his golden year.
You ever just like look at somebody that does something incredible like that and just think like, I will never have a year where I'm never going to have a year where I have my life's equivalent of Goodfellas and Home Alone. That's just like, that's unattainable.
I don't know. I think that's my year this year. I think that's what just happened. I think I had a day. I quit, I started, and I got married in the same day. I think like that was my day. Like, I don't get a whole year, but I can have a day.
The Joe Pesci of 2022.
That's right.
Jackie Zykan, everybody.
Here we go. You guys, I don't know why you guys don't have like awards. Like, you need to have like an awards ceremony of these sorts of things.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm glad they accept the Pesci.
We'll give you, it'll be like a bust of his head that we'll just send you in the mail. The Pesci
Humanitarian Award.
But is it his head in Goodfellas? Is his head in Home Alone? Like after like the hat's been burned through?
That's the one.
It'll be actively on fire. The bust will include the flamethrower.
It's like the Olympic torch. It never goes out.
That's amazing. Oh.
All right, Jackie, I've got a couple more movie-related questions here.
Okay.
The most burning of which is, am I to understand that you have not yet seen Top Gun Maverick?
This is like, oh my God. Okay. This is so crazy because you know where I'm leaving in 15 minutes when we're wrapping this up is I'm heading to a drive-in in the middle of the cornfield in Iowa to watch that exact movie.
Jackie,
I'm dead. I'm not lying.
Is the greatest
like
30-year follow-up. You know, because the studios have been obsessed with remaking or continuing movies from 50 years ago. This one actually did it. And we might just need to have you on to review it once you've seen it.
Oh my God. I will.
I can't wait.
I guess I better pay attention tonight at the movies. That's so weird that you asked about that. Literally, like in 15 minutes, like leaving to go see that movie. I'm a huge standard Top Gun fan. I am.
It's a spectacular movie.
I'm excited. Okay, well, I trust your judgment. I couldn't tell like every word to word. I was like, are they going left or right with this? Like, are they about to say like it is a huge, amazing failure? Like, is that what's coming up? Like, I don't know. What do you think? Now I'm excited. Okay, this is cool.
Lately, I've been finding myself pulling whiskeys off the shelf that are consistently unique, ones that tell a good story every time I pop the cork, and I have to say that Doc Swinson's is absolutely top tier when it comes to a fascinating pour. What separates Doc Swinson's from the rest of the pack is their unrelenting goal of always letting the whiskey shine. No matter what whiskey comes through the front door at Doc's, their team of tasters will blend and finish it into something that is deliciously memorable. The beautiful thing about a good blended whiskey is that oftentimes, with proper care and attention, they turn into a whiskey that is truly greater than the sum of their parts. Whether you're trying their alter ego, blender's cut, or exploratory series, you are guaranteed to have a phenomenal experience with Doc Swinson's whiskey. You can find them online at docswhiskey.com. That's DOCS whiskey.com.
All right, so not to get too serious here, but you're going through some major life transitions. I think we all have in the last couple of years. I just started another job, so I'm really resonating with your story of leaving and starting and everything else. If you had to pick a comfort movie for when you were going through it in life, what's your movie?
Yeah.
What are you throwing on
exactly
when
what
you're?
it is.
Yeah, do it.
There's only one. I don't know if we've ever talked. I would be shocked. I know we've talked about Wes Anderson and my love for Wes Anderson films, but I Heart Huckabees got me through this entire transition.
Oh, wow.
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah, dead serious. I watched that. I have seen that movie over 1,000 times. I know every single word in that movie. It is I just need something on just for background noise. I need to not think about anything right now. I need somebody to just distract me. All of it. I Heard Huckabees. Especially if you're in a corporate job and you're like, God, why can't I just work for myself? Or I just want to, carve things out of wood. That's what I want to do. Just watch it. Just watch it. You're not alone. You're okay. That's my go-to. Yeah, it's hysterical. I think it was very poorly rated because it's probably a terrible movie after all, but I enjoy it. So I'm willing to own that. But it is very much satirical take on corporate environments.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of movies, right? It doesn't have to hit for everybody as long as it hits for a few people.
Listen, we did a whole season of the podcast where we were just picking movies from 15 years ago that we remember loving and reevaluating them to see if they were any good. And, we had a couple duds. I brought up Elizabethtown and I was like, I loved this movie when I was in high school and that movie sucks, but there's still there's a soft spot in my heart for that movie.
I know. 'Cause it's connected to a time and a place for you, right? It's beyond the movie. It's definitely not just the movie, right? This one is funny because it really does pull in this and it's funny now. It's an older movie. I don't even know what year it was made in, but it's not new by any means. But I think right now we're kind of in this world of existentialism and new agey kind of methodologies coming to light and on trend, if you will, even though a lot of people have already been leaning into that kind of stuff. So it's kind of funny that it's here's the juxtaposition. Sterility and falsehood and this corporate culture where it's just kind of phony versus the complete opposite end of the spectrum of just complete it's, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you're listening to this, if you don't like it, I know you don't like it. It's probably not a good movie. I get it, but I've always thought it was funny because I've just always found that kind of work environment to be funny. It's because I don't know. It's just hysterical to me. So
all right.
There's that.
Before we let you go today, we're going to start something new. We've never done it before. So you're the test pilot here.
Dude, we started so many new things today. We've started the Pesci's, right? The Pesci's are happening. I've just ruined everybody's taste for Jackie's movie picks by suggesting to watch I Heard Huckabees. So many people are going to be disappointed.
No, I think this is
great.
I think this is just the pinnacle of our show, and it's all downhill from here.
Perfect. I can't wait.
All right. So when I was growing up, there was a show on the TV channel called Bravo, and it was called Inside the Actors Studio. I don't know if you're familiar with it. James Lipton. And at the end of every one of those episodes, he had a questionnaire that he would walk everybody through. And so you'd hear Denzel Washington give his favorite curse word or something. And I always loved that. It was based on, another author's questionnaire that he would always ask people, which in turn was based on something that Proust wrote. So we have developed the Film and Whiskey Inside the Whiskey Studio questionnaire. And we're going to ask...
Today's the first time?
This is the first one ever.
This is
pressure.
Jackie.
God. Okay. Is this like a quick fire format or
yes.
like, am I allowed to think?
I mean, you can think a little bit, but like,
Only a tiny bit of thinking.
Right.
Like 2% of your brain.
Minimal thinking. All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
What is your favorite word? Oh, there it is. All right.
All right. What is your least favorite word?
My absolute least favorite word in this entire world is cubbyhole. I hate it. I have a whole list. Like dollop, cubbyhole, like just splatter. That bothers me too. But no, cubbyhole.
You've already hinted, no. But what's your favorite curse word?
I don't know. I feel I already used one earlier in this, but I think that my favorite one that I feel more comfortable using just in public is shit. I say shit a lot.
It's a really versatile word.
Yeah.
Truly.
It is. It's great.
What sound or noise do you just love?
I know I'm not supposed to think about this. Like, I do think about this. I have to think about this. I don't know. I like the sound of sizzling food oven if it's going to be crispy. I don't like sizzling meat. I don't like a fajita situation, like a sizzling plate. But like, if you're like making, let me go real redneck here. You know, when you're like making pizza rolls in the oven, and it's like,
yes,
it's like that, you know, it's done. That's
Bob and I
like
have,
it. Okay.
Bob and I have a continuing debate on whether pizza rolls or pizza bagels are better.
Rolls all day long. I hate bagels.
Thank you. Too
much crust to filling ratio. Way too much crust.
Jackie, you are illustrious and amazing.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Anything that sounds gelatinous. Like if you took like a Jell-O mold and just like shook it around and it was just like oh no.
That was a quick answer. I love it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
What profession outside of the whiskey world would you love to attempt? Before I got into whiskey, I was in this like different phase of finally having the guts to explore interior design. And I love interior design so much. I was just like, well, I'm probably not going to make any money. And like, you know, that like childhood trauma that tells me like, make money, work. So like I never did it, but I do love it. I very much enjoy it. Jackie, if you need the name and number of a good counselor afterwards, I know one. I'll email it to you. I have one. It's great. His name is Parker. I love my therapist.
Shout out to Parker. Who are your favorite fictional heroes? I have never gravitated towards the hero. Oh, I always really appreciate the villain. Spicy take here. Yeah, that's a twist, isn't it? The Pesci indeed. I don't know. All right, how about this one? Who are your favorite real life heroes? Oh, Will Parker, my therapist. There it is. I'm just joking. I don't know. I've had the very, very fortunate path here of having so many amazing people come into my life. And so I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. Favorite musician? Shit, I don't have an answer for that one either. I'm not that. So have we talked about this before? I know. I'm like totally destroying this whole like rapid fire thing. I'm like, you're killing it. You're doing great. I know. I'm just really, really drowning here. That I'm like the same way. I think this was our first episode we ever did together where you were like, oh, we're talking about movies. I was like, I'm really insecure about this because I don't get like deep into like the critical stuff of like movies. The same way with music. We were like, what kind of music you listen to? And I'm like, I don't know everything. Well, what's your favorite band? I don't know everything. And it's like, well, surely you must have some. And I'm like, I don't know. I just know if in that moment, in that mood, with that phase of the moon, I like what I hear, then cool. But that's subject to change. So I don't know. I don't hold tightly to any of them. Got it. All right. Yeah. Man, that was emphatic. Okay. We will. What do you value most in your friends? Honesty. I guess, and not towards me, towards everything. I like honest people. I like people who have the guts to be honest, no matter what. What's your principal defect?
what does that mean? What does that even mean? Like, what's the number one thing wrong with me? We don't have time. Like, we do not have time. I principal, is that what you mean? Or do you mean like physical? Like, what do you mean?
Oh, no, not physical. Not physically.
Okay. I'm like, well, I always wish.
Oh man.
Got this wart on my foot.
Yeah. It's getting real intimate here.
Right.
I think I honestly have difficulty sitting still, and that is a problem because I just like constantly just go, and I wear myself out and then I do it all over again. So that is a defect for me, that I can't sit still.
So on the flip side,
I'm working on it.
On the flip side, what is a gift that you wish you possessed?
I wish I was better at small talk, because I'm terrible at small talk. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to start it. And I think that makes me come off as like a total ass sometimes, because I'm just like quiet and sitting there like I'm judging the world. I'm not. I'm just sitting there panicking in my mind on a hamster wheel of like, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? I'm psycho like that. So yeah.
All right, here's a chance to feel
deep. Like, geez, this is really vulnerable here.
Here's a chance to feel better. What's your favorite thing about yourself? What do you just love? You're like, man, Jackie's awesome.
I don't know. I think that I have a really nice tenacity to me, where I don't half-ass anything. I will see it through and make sure it's the best of the best of the best that I can do possible. I try very hard with everything that I do. That is a very good quality.
All right.
Sometimes I'm funny, but like, I don't know.
Here's one that I hope it's not too dark, but for someone who likes I Heart Huckabees, we should be okay. If you had a say in how you died, how would you want to go out?
Like super boring here. Like, I'm not like, I want to like, fall into a volcano and like whatever. Like, no, I want to be so old that no one gives a shit that I even exist anymore. And I want to die in my sleep.
There you go.
That's it.
You got to go out like Rose in Titanic.
What? No.
She falls asleep as an old woman. She just like, she just drifts off and
does, but like
goes and meets Leo in the afterlife.
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. Titanic, we're going to have to do a whole different episode on the Titanic. Like, there's a whole thing, because I was there at like prime, like I'm going to the movies with my friends phase of life when it was in the theaters. And I was there when it came on 2 VHSs, like in a box set. You had to like, get up and put the second one in. Like, we need to unpack Titanic how not as good of a movie as it. Yep.
Extra
but I'll watch it.
Hot takes with Jackie.
All right.
Spicy.
We've got one final question for you here. And this is one that we really did come up with just for the show. The last few guests that we've had on that have been like brand ambassadors or distillers, we've been asking them this because our audience prizes value, and people keep pairing their whiskeys with like high-end charcuterie and stuff. And we're like, listen, our audience is not eating that. If you had to pair Hidden Barn, like the current batch, the current expression of it, with any fast food item, what would you pick?
Okay. I don't know. Can I go with like a more accessible food, like prepared food grocery store? Does it have to be fast food, like chain? Because what first came to mind, okay, back in the day, there were these frozen like dinners. I guess I use that in quotes loosely. Dinners, kids cuisine. And there was one with chicken nuggets, and it had mac and cheese and this like brownie that cooked in the microwave.
Come on, Jackie. Let's go.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's kids cuisine chicken nuggets meal. That's what it is.
Listen, as a family that frequented Save-A-Lot when I was a kid, like kids cuisine was the highest end thing on the menu. That like you sent me back.
That was special.
Yeah,
like, that's a birthday meal. Like that's intense.
You'd throw that brownie in the microwave. Oh,
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like it's And if maybe kids cuisine doesn't resonate with you, but you're like, I can't afford the $60 worth of charcuterie. You know what works just as good? Lunchables. You get the ham and cheese Lunchable. Make sure you put the cheese between the ham and the cracker, or it sticks to the top of your mouth. And it comes with an Oreo most of the time. Sometimes a Capri Sun. Good to go.
It's a full meal.
With it.
100%.
That's it. That's all you need.
How far we have all come.
Or not. We're full circle.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I was saying it might be full circle. Jackie,
pretty much.
I don't know if there's a more fun person in the world of whiskey to talk to.
Y'all are the best.
What a blessing to have you on.
Thank you. Hey.
All right, we're gonna try this whiskey now. So can you give us can you like intro our whiskey segment now?
Yeah, for sure. What you were about to sip is going to make you want to share whiskey with your friends, which is the point of this whiskey in general. It is delicious. It is balanced. It is structured, but it is a little bit unique in that this is all pot still distillation. There's no column still. This is low pot still distillation. So like we're taking it off the still at 127 proof and going into barrel at 110. The barrel has been seasoned oak for 2 years sitting out to season. So it's super, super stripped of all that acidity. This is 4-year-old whiskey. This is barrel strength. It's 106 proof for batch 1. So like that is straight out of the barrel. There is no filtration. There's a cheesecloth, catches the char chunks, and that's it. There's no rinse. There's no water. It's just is what it is. And it's beautiful. It's a 7-barrel batch. It's wild yeast, which is kind of, it's risky to use wild yeast because you never know what the flavor is going to be, but that's exactly what makes it so unique tasting. So yeah.
Jackie, I'm like wildly excited to drink this now.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. I'm not going to lie, it's pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jackie Zykan of Hidden Barn. I prize these discussions above almost every one that we have on this show. I can't wait to have you back on again, hopefully after you go see Top Gun tonight.
Yes.
So Jackie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys so much.
Today's sponsor is a little bit of a departure from our usual area of expertise, and man, oh man, I was blown away by their product once we received it. I am talking about Manscaped. Now, if you're like me at all, you've probably seen the Manscaped ads and kind of wondered to yourself, like, do I really need like some sort of specialty trimmer to take care of my downstairs business? And I've just got to be honest, I was absolutely wrong. Their trimmer is called the Lawnmower 4.0. And I gotta say, it is the Rolls Royce of trimmers. It's got a ceramic blade that reduces grooming mishaps, a wireless charging base, and an awesome flashlight that keeps things illuminated while you're working. And beyond all that, it's waterproof. This thing is really changing the game when it comes to below-the-belt hygiene. Now, this is just me talking about my experience, but this trimmer really is way beyond anything I've ever used to keep things neat and tidy. You can use our discount code FILMWHISKEY to get 20% off your order and free shipping. Head on over to Manscaped.com and use code FILMWHISKEY to get 20% off, free shipping, and you will be well on your way to hygiene heaven.
All right, everybody, we're not going to delay it any longer. You have heard from the master herself, Jackie Zykan, giving an intro to this whiskey, Hidden Barn. Just to reiterate a couple quick points. Everything in this bottle is pot stilled, Brad. It's a blend of just a few barrels. I think she said like 7 barrels total. It's 4 years old. The barrels that they were aged in were left out in the elements to kind of cure and get, what was the word she used? Not toasted, but
tasty.
Tasty. There it is. They got tasty.
They got real tasty.
Let's dive right in, Brad. On the nose, this is really interesting to me because, it's 4 years old, but it smells really, really yeasty. And that was another thing Jackie said, was that this was made with wild yeast, like this yeast grew out in the wilderness. And it smells the way that a lot of young whiskey smell because it has that really yeasty kind of grain-forward character to it. But on top of that, I'm getting like a really fresh handful of wildflowers and quite a bit of melon, too. Like I get some cantaloupe on this. I really like it.
Dude, I got grain on the front, and then for me, it was just butterscotch on top of butterscotch on top of butterscotch. It's not incredibly deep, like the depth isn't there that you get with a lot of decadent whiskeys, but I literally for about 20 minutes was smelling this whiskey and couldn't get around that nose. It just smells like a rich butterscotch feel to it, and I am just really impressed that there is that much kind of creaminess to go along with that grain forward note.
When you were talking about the rich butterscotch, all I could think of was Ron Burgundy saying, "My apartment smells of rich mahogany."
Rich butterscotch.
It's so funny. I was just having a conversation with my wife about this. Do you ever think in colors when you taste things?
No, I do not.
Does that make sense to you? Like, do you ever, that scene in Ratatouille where he's like eating the strawberry and then like everything behind him turns pink?
Yeah.
Like I've had that before where I'm like, I don't know how to explain this, but this just tastes like what I imagine the color mahogany would taste like, or the color turquoise would taste like.
Yeah, you know what I just learned literally today, Bob? I learned that some people think in images and other people think in words.
Uh-huh.
And I had no idea that people didn't just think in words all the time.
I'm with you. I think in words.
Yeah.
Once in a while I think in images, but like I said, colors sometimes come to mind.
Yeah. I literally had no idea that when some people think it's in image form, like I'm not really sure how that works. I'm very curious about it, and I'm going to learn more. So I'll report back next bonus episode and let you know where I'm at.
Man, our listeners have just gotten so much educational content this episode.
You're welcome.
All right, when we get to the taste, Brad, again, it kind of reminds me of a brand we featured about a year ago on the show called Broken Barrel, where we talked about how that process of submerging the staves in like a big vat of the stuff really helps kind of sand off or the rough edges on the young whiskey, and that it still had a lot of young character on it, but like there was no harshness to it. This one I kind of feel like is that, but taken to its extreme. Like there is just a tiny bit of that youthfulness and yeastiness underneath all this, but it's like it's been covered up by so many incredible things on top of that.
Yeah.
And again, like a youthful taste is not necessarily a bad thing. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh, they're covering up some flaws here. That's not it at all. It just tastes like it's not a super well-aged whiskey. And so like right on the tip of my tongue, it is like overwhelmingly sweet. This is a really, really sweet bourbon. It hits the mid palate, and that's when you pick up a little bit of that yeastiness. But for me, that's also where the kind of alcohol burn started to set in. And then towards the back of the palate, you get a lot of really nice baking spices. I got a lot of clove on this one on the finish. And I think that those notes coming at the right times in the drinking experience really did kind of cover up some of the youthfulness on this.
Yeah, it's an incredibly smooth whiskey. Throughout the experience, there is a really nice marriage of grain with sweetness, I think. For me, it was almost like an apple peel, butterscotch mixture that was underlaid with all sorts of kind of grain. You get a little bit of that kind of barley feel coming through. I really like this palate a lot, Bob. It is unique and complex and interesting, and I haven't had many things like it.
No, I totally agree. And I think that's, again, it gets back to the beauty of blending, where I don't know if you could get this specific kind of a palate just from like a single barrel. You know what I mean? Like it seems like Jackie was pulling rather disparate elements together and making something really, really cool out of it. And again, that gets back to the finish here. The finish doesn't have any of that sort of melon that I picked up on the nose. It gets really into like the kind of darker baking spices, like some molasses and some clove for me. I'm really digging this, man. It takes you on a journey as you sip it.
Yeah, for the finish for me, there is like mint and oak and butter that all mixes together beautifully. Man, this is just a really incredibly impressive first offering out of Hidden Barn, Bob.
Yeah, totally agree. And we can't say thank you enough to our friend Jackie Zykan. I can't wait to try more of these as they continue to come out. It sounds like they are going to kind of let each batch be its own thing, that it's not necessarily going for the same taste every time. And I think that's an incredible way to go because it reminds us of some other distillers and producers that we really love that go batch by batch and let each batch shine for what it is. So yeah, great things coming out of Hidden Barn. Always a good time to talk to our friend Jackie Zykan. Brad, we will be back on Monday with another regularly scheduled episode. But until then, I'm Bob Book.
I'm Brad G.
And we'll see you next time.